Lose yourself in a good book. The Board Gosh Energy Book Club.
Now, since winning the Brian Moore Award in 2006, author Sheila Wilkinson has won numerous awards for her literary work. She now has another accolade to add to her shelf, as she's just been awarded the CBI Book of the Year Award for her novel Grounded. Good morning to you, Sheila.
Good morning, Alan.
And these awards just keep flying your way.
Thank you very much.
Because this is only the second time an author's won the Best Book of the Year and in Children's Choice as well.
Yeah, so I think the same thing happened last year.
Yeah, so you must be very chuffed.
I'm absolutely over the moon. I mean, my first book, Taking Flight, to which Grounded is a sequel, did very well, and that was brilliant. But there's always the worry, you know, like kind of the difficult second book.
Well,
is it going to
it
do as
must
well?
feel that, because like it got your original book got such great reviews and awards and stuff like that, and then is there the constant worry then, oh, am I a one-book wonder?
I mean, I felt that I wasn't a one-book wonder, obviously, but you just never know if a book's going to resonate with people, if it's going to be picked up. And Taking Flight, which was my first book, you know, like a lot of first-time authors, I spent years writing it, whereas Grounded was actually commissioned by my publishers. I had mentioned that I was thinking of doing a sequel, and they were very keen on that. So I basically had about 8 months to write the book from start to finish.
Is that good or bad? Like, when you have the deadline, is that better for writers?
It was a lot of pressure.
Oh, yeah.
But ultimately, I'm a professional writer and I like to have deadlines. So, yeah, the pressure was worth it, and it made it a very intense experience. So it was very different from writing the first book. But I think because the first book had done so well, I was sat down to write the second book, and there were a lot of mistakes that I didn't make because, you know, I kind of knew what I was doing.
And when you say in the first book it took you years, like, was that just because it was your passion and there was no deadline and you weren't sort of up against it, so it was like you didn't sit down at 7 a.m. every day? Like, you're a teacher as well, so like this is you're working full time. So how do you fit all that in then? Well,
the first book, I started taking it seriously about sort of halfway through the first draft. I had won some short story awards, and I suppose that gave me the confidence to think, well, do you know what, you can really do this, but you need to put the work in. As to how I balance it with teaching, that has become increasingly difficult, to be honest. Teaching's a very, very full-on job. And actually yesterday I said to my fourth form, I'm not going to be with you tomorrow, I've got to go down to Dublin to be on TV. And they said, Miss, you don't care about us anymore. You're always going down to Dublin. But next year I'm going to have a year off teaching to just concentrate.
Because you got an arts grant, didn't you?
Yeah, I was
and sort of allowing
really
you to sort of take time off and...
Yeah, I got a major award from the Northern Ireland Arts Council, who have been, I mean, they've been so supportive of me right from the start. And that will allow me just to, well, partly to write, of course, but also to go off and meet readers. Because one of the brilliant things about writing for teenagers is you get invited to schools and libraries. And I love going out and meeting readers. So that's going to be brilliant.
So tell us a little about Grounded then.
Well, Grounded is a sequel to Taking Flight. Yeah. So the character Declan is 18. So it's very much, you know, it's branded as children's fiction, but it's about as kind of old as you can get. I suppose a lot of people would probably call it a crossover book. I'm really interested in writing about people on the cusp of adulthood.
Right.
You know, Declan's 18. He's just been offered his first sort of proper grown-up job. He works with horses. And then he finds out that his girlfriend is pregnant, and he has to make a lot of very, very grown-up decisions. And I love the sort of the intensity of that, you know, that people are being thrust into an adult world and having to deal with it without really having the resources to do so.
I mean, literally, when you were writing this, was there a sense of, like, you were still teaching? So when did you actually pack it in? Were you getting up before school, after school?
I already get up at 10 to 6 to go to school because I commute to Belfast from the country. So it tended to be weekends, to be honest. Right. I would set aside chunks of time at the weekend. And for that book, I set myself 4,000 words a weekend in order to... That's a lot. Yeah, and what I like to do is I like to write a first draft really quickly and allow it to have, you know, all its faults, and then I like to spend time editing and editing and editing. So that's how I worked with that book.
So you were at home in County Down, which, as you say, your timid cat and your naughty pony.
Yeah, I actually don't have the naughty pony anymore, but I still got the timid cat.
Timid cat. Well, listen, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but congratulations.
Thank you
the
very
awards
much.
and the accolades for you just keep coming in.
Oh,
and
thank
it's
you.
fantastic. And grounded, as we say, from the author of the award-winning Taking Flight. It is the follow-up, and it's the winner this year, so congratulations.
Thank you very
on that.
much.
Thank you. Now, our book club choice for May is The Great Fergola Brothers, The Twisted by Joe Prendergast. Now, if you'd like to be in with a chance of winning a packed hamper of excellent children's books, then send your review on to us. Reviews should be no longer than 50 words and should reach us by Friday the 24th of May. They should be emailed to irelandam@tv3.ie or sent by post to Bord Gáis Energy Book Club, TV3, Westgate Business Park, Ballymount, Dublin 24.